and good morning. Welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host, and I apologize. We're running a couple minutes behind here, but I have an amazing guest on today. Can't wait for you guys to meet him. I'm trying to pull this up over here on my phone and it's acting weird. So, I want to go ahead and bring my guest on, Chris Bennett. Welcome to the show, my man.
Welcome. Thank you for having me, my man Ken Walls. How are you, buddy?
Dude, excuse me. I'm doing great. Is it coming up on your phone? I guess everybody can see it except for me because Linda Ann Barber says good morning. So
I see it.
Yeah. So all right. So Robert Brooker, how you doing, man? So listen, Chris, I've I say it all the time. I've told Frank Lopes. I've told so many people. I just told my buddy Shaka Dyson, like, I'm not in the car business, but I have so many people that are friends of mine in the car business, and I do a lot of business with people in the car business, but
right.
I'm not in the car business. So, but you are, and we're going to get into that, but let's kind of start with, I created this show to help people have a breakthrough and get unstuck, if you would. And,
right.
And so I'm sure there's been times in your life where, things were not going the way you wanted them to go. And you felt stuck or whatever, and we're going to talk about some of that stuff today. But let's start with where you were born and raised.
I was born in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and I was actually born at Doylestown Hospital. That's currently where I live, but I lived when I was a kid in Wrightstown, which is, about 4 miles away. And I've lived here my entire life. We did live 2 years in Maine, which was very unique. Bangor, Maine. I lived near Stephen King, which was pretty cool and creepy.
Wow.
But, yeah. So that was fun. That was weird for a kid
to
watch Pet Sematary and then see the guy. You know what I mean? So.
Oh my God. Did you go to college in PA or where?
I dabbled. So I went to Council Rock High School.
Okay.
Which is a popular high school around here. A lot of people move in because they think it's academically better. So it was a little tough for me. I'm not a school guy. I dabbled in Bucks County Community College. And what a lot of people don't know about me is when I was like 17, 18 years old, I used to run like a bulldozer. And because my dad, love this, right? Yeah, so my dad worked for a company that was a construction company, right?
Uh-huh.
And he drove a dump truck. So they're like, hey, we can't get anybody, okay?
Yeah.
So, you want to learn how to, strip topsoil. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm a big kid. They're going to pay me like $20 an hour. I'm going to do this, right?
Wow.
So, I did that while I went to school a little bit, at college a little bit. And then I wanted to drive a truck because that's kind of what I was raised to do. I was raised in a very unique situation where it was like you do a $50,000 a year job, you get married, you have kids, and then that's your life.
Right.
Right. So I drove a truck, and at 21 years old, I literally would get up at 2 a.m. and move heavy equipment.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I moved oversized permit loads and all that stuff. Yep.
Holy moly! So you were driving what, a D8, a D9? What were you?
Oh yeah. I moved many a D9s. Yeah.
Oh, those are some big dozers, man.
Oh yeah, they're pretty sketchy. Yeah, absolutely.
So what? And this was a family business?
No, this was just my dad had worked for this guy, and he was like, hey, do you want to come work as a laborer? And I'm like, yeah. But then he's like, hey, we need somebody to strip topsoil, dig basements. And I'm like, I get to dig holes, big Tonka trucks. Why not? You know what I mean? School's not going to work out for me. Right.
So you didn't go to college?
I went to college, but I didn't go to college. I didn't do the college experience.
I got
you. I went to community college to try to lost you for a second. I went to community college to try to do that thing. And it just, I'm not a school person. I'm not a school person.
I got you. So, so you didn't get a marketing degree or?
Nope.
Yeah.
No marketing degree. No degree in anything. I don't.
So what? So like at some point though, you ended up getting into the car business. Tell me what happened after the construction business.
So what happened was, going back to what I said earlier, I was raised in a family where, and again, you are normally, obviously, you're going to become, you're swayed to become, whatever you're raised around, right? Your biggest influencers are your parents when you're a kid, obviously, and your friends. So because I didn't fit into the school thing, it was construction, moving equipment, stuff like that.
Right.
So I also got married like right out of high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like right out of high school. And I had 2 kids and that wasn't working out. You know what I mean? I'm turning 21 years old, just not going to happen. Right. So this is all kind of like where life starts to pick up into a different direction for me. So I end up at the same time, I end up getting divorced. Within a few months, I stopped moving heavy equipment and working in construction. And a guy that I know was like, listen, you're really good at talking to people, because I just have always talked to people. I don't shut up. I think it was always just getting myself out of trouble when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Good at, like, talking. No, but he's like, why don't you come work I have a travel plaza. Okay. He's like, trucks, and I have a travel plaza, and we need to change this travel plaza into getting more trucking companies. It's right off the corridor of I-95, right? And he's full gas station, diesel, all that stuff, and a huge shop. So I'm like, yeah, why not, right? I'll call on. I didn't care because I was young. I'll call on like vice presidents of like the largest trucking companies in the world and just say, hey, when your trucks are heading up 95 at this mark, why don't you rip off and get some discounted fuel in a truck wash, right? I didn't care.
Right.
So I did that, and that kind of opened my eyes up to the capabilities of what I was able to do in sales. Okay.
So this was your entry into sales.
Yeah, this was my entry into sales, and what had happened was I'd been divorced, or getting divorced, I should say, because that takes forever. And I actually met my wife currently. She was the secretary at that place. So by dating her, I broke their policy and I got left behind from that place. Fired.
Fired?
Fired. We'll say that.
Go ahead. You can say it.
I got fired, but I'll take the trade-off, right? I'll take the trade-off on it.
Wow.
So it's such a weird story. Like, I really do have such a weird story, I guess. Everybody has their own little weird stories. But, so we end up getting married later, like as time starts to go.
Yeah.
And I move in with my wife, right? We move into our house. And, my neighbor is the general manager of a Ford store.
Okay.
And for 6 months, he used to call me cuz. So he'd be like, little cuz. He's like, you're great at talking to people. Why don't you come be in car sales? And I'm like, no way, man. I watched like 4 movies on it. I'm not going to wear the chains and the ties and the rings and, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, he's like, no. Why don't you come down and get in the car sales? So this was a really good, really, really, really great way of transitioning. And I want to explain
Hold on, did you say chains, like gold chains?
Yeah, because I watch movies, where the guys are wearing the chains and the pinky rings.
Yeah.
I'll knock 4,000 off if you buy the car today. You know, things like that.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I was like, all right, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna just talk. I just want to see it. Like I don't even like I bought cars, obviously,
Yeah.
but like not like I want to see what they're doing. So I go in, I fill out and I have to fill out the form even though I know them, and I fill out an application, which I hate doing, and I kind of watch how people are like, how they're like in a little pack, and
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it's just like the movies. Like it's legit. Like every movie I've ever seen is happening right now in front of me. So
Well, are you wearing a gold chain on your wrist right now,
no,
dude?
no, this is from my son. This is
Oh,
Woody.
gotcha.
Yeah, no Mr. T jewelry for me.
Right.
So I go in and he did the best thing that anybody. It's probably in the top 10 list of things that people have done for me in my life. He was the general manager, keep in mind, like a real general manager at, we're talking, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He sends me an email that night and I'm reading it and it's like, he wrote like, listen, this career is blah, 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 blah. Like, you can make 100,000. Here's what it takes. It takes, 80-hour work weeks. It's going to taking a lot of crap from managers. He basically wrote out everything that is positive and negative instead of just giving you the positive side that people do in the auto industry now, which is, you can make a ton of money. You can sell 30 cars.
Yeah.
So by him doing that, I went in and was like, I'm going to try it and let's just see what happens.
Right.
And it ended up being successful for me. But I credit that success to this man
Yeah.
who literally told me the truth,
Wow.
which will come later in
Yeah.
part of my story of my life.
But let's back up a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about, your childhood, because I think that as children, we are the people in our lives, parents, teachers, friends, siblings. It kind of forms us into who we become as adults, right?
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, like, what do you feel when you think back to childhood? Because I know you've been incredibly successful in the car business, and obviously you were obviously successful at heavy equipment moving,
Damn
right?
straight. Damn straight.
But like what was like when you think about the your childhood influences, what comes to mind? What do you feel like influenced you the most, for good and bad?
What influenced me the most for, I guess I'm going to say good and bad, is I didn't want to be my parents. And what I mean by that, and I haven't talked to my parents in 4 years. I haven't talked to any of my family in 4 years. Not by my doing.
Right.
Not on this side of the fence. But I didn't want to be, and I never want to be that I'm content with the minimum. They had always had a lot of frustration over money, over certain things, and I was in that trail doing, the heavy equipment deal and stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that job. I literally will tell people now, like, listen, if you're, go do this, right? It's a great stepping stone for a lot of things. You can open up your own construction company if you want, right?
Yeah.
But as a child, you're around your family the most of the time. And if you have a very tight-knit internal family,
Right.
Your life is predicated upon what you're taught there.
Right.
So I just didn't want to be that normal. I don't know. I always felt like I was built differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was a purpose for me to do other things.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm never content with just sitting,
Right.
taking it.
So, you didn't want to be your parents, so that influenced you.
Yeah.
You weren't a school person.
No.
Dude, I'm so with you on that, by the way. Like my 8-year-old hates school, and I'm like, I don't blame you. I hated school too. I'm not going to judge you. I hated
Yeah.
it. Like I think
Yeah.
and today I just think it's kind of like, there's a book called The Four Agreements, and he talks about the programming of the human, right? And how we're literally programmed. And I love that book, and I love that reference. So I don't know, something in me was like as a kid, it was like I intuitively knew that this is not life. I'm being programmed here, like
Yeah,
like
you are. Yeah. You all were.
yeah. And so for me, I retaliated. I pushed back as a kid
Yeah.
and got into a whole lot of trouble as a result. How about you?
Right. I had my run-ins, I
Yeah.
had my little brushes,
Yeah.
my little issues. Nothing major.
Did you ever run from the cops as a kid?
I did run from the cops, but all right. So the reason I had to run. Now you gotta remember, my town's like Mayberry.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's what I grew up in too. So,
But I was like dumb because when you live in Mayberry, they know who you are. So it's
right.
running is just it's like paying a bill 10 days late. You know what I mean? Like it's coming, right? So I ran because we were throwing fireworks at cars.
Did it?
And imagine somebody calling the cops at 14-year-old, 15-year-old kids throwing fireworks at cop cars, like bottle rockets, nothing that's gonna like blow a car up, obviously.
Right.
But a car was coming at me with lights on, not cop lights, just like high beams. And I'm like, oh, I got this. This guy's a knucklehead. He's coming right at me. I throw it. As soon as I throw it, I make like eye contact with the policeman.
Oh no!
What do you do?
Did you run?
You either sit on the ground or you run. I ran, but I was a kid, so I got out of it. But again, Mayberry, you get out of it.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah, that was kind of like my running. Like everybody was like, "Oh, you were a rough kid." Yeah, I was. Listen, I sat in school and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna talk about A minus, Z plus thing and do a report." And I'm like, I can't do it. My mind's not like I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this on purpose to like defy you as a teacher.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now that my brain is telling me I will never use this in the future. And I don't even remember what we did last year. So.
Right.
Like it came off disrespectful, but like legit, it just wasn't me,
Dude, I totally, I get it, man.
Yeah, and I'm talking high school. I'm not talking as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm talking
my senior year, they and I had taken calculus, analytic geometry, trig, all that stuff. And my senior year, they came to me and said, "Hey, you're not graduating." And I said, why? You didn't get a biology credit in 10th grade. I go, yeah, I failed it. They're like, yeah, we know that you got to pass it to get the credit. And I go, well, I failed it because I don't like it, and
right.
I'm probably never going to use it. So can we just
right.
give me that piece of paper that says I did all this?
Yeah.
And they said no, and blah blah blah. And I said fine, whatever. And because I don't know. I just thought, I'm never using biology, and I got stuff to do like now, and it doesn't include biology.
Yeah, I got an F. True story. I got an F because I refused to dissect a cat.
What?
Yeah.
A cat?
A cat.
Jeez.
A cat. And here's the thought process. At 16 years old. When the hell am I going to ever dissect a cat?
Right. I can
And that
relate
stuff
to
creeped
that,
me out
dude.
to begin with, right? So I was like, I'm not doing it.
Right.
It wasn't disrespectful. It was just like, I can't do it. Like some things like you just physically cannot do. I'm like gagging. You know what I mean? It's like a
Right,
movie.
yeah.
Like,
Dude,
you know?
I can't do that either. I can't do it
Crazy.
either.
Crazy. I just spoke at a college for women entrepreneurs last week, and it was like, I can't name names, but it was like, here comes the sales pitch.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're teaching these people marketing that happened 10 years ago. Like, let's bring it in, but I won't get into that with you.
Well, I mean, and we can get into it because I have some young people that watch this show as well, and I think that I'm the CEO of a marketing firm, and we've done this stuff for. My wife was the global VP of marketing for 2 different $500 million a year companies, and I've
Right.
been doing it forever, and so I can remember this kid applying. This is a couple years ago, but he applies for a marketing internship with us.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits down and I said, well, what kind of experience do you have? He's like, none. I'm in college and I need an internship with a marketing company to be able to graduate. He had to have it to graduate.
Right.
And I said, okay, well, are we talking paid or unpaid intern? And he said, well, it has to be paid. It's the college rules. And I go, okay, well, minimum wage, what are we talking? He's like, oh no, I was thinking like 20. And I said, 20,000? He goes, no, $20 an hour. I said, get out of here. Get out of here. Like, dude, are you crazy? What?
Isn't it?
For me to teach you want me to pay you $20 an hour. Okay.
Doesn't it amaze you that the whole system is basically is pushed towards learning? Like you're learning,
Yeah.
but then they go out and then people want to get paid to learn.
Yeah. Yes.
Think about that. It's backwards.
I another friend of mine just interviewed some kid that said, hey, he just graduated with an undergrad. If this doesn't start at $70,000 a year, I'm not interested. Is what he told my buddy, the CEO. And this CEO has his own Wikipedia page. I mean, he's like legit, right? And I'm like, dude, what? What'd you say to him? He said, I stood up and said, have a nice day, and walked out of the conference room.
Yeah.
And left him sitting there. Like, again, and I'm not saying, like, dude, there are some very, very intelligent, college-educated people, right? Very intelligent. But and very successful. But I think, and you tell me if I'm wrong, the most successful people in the world are just the people that just go do. They don't.
No, you're right. You know what goes along with that? Because when I interview people for our company,
yeah,
I don't care what they did in college.
Right.
Like as far as grades, like I do, grades is this much, right?
Yeah, sure.
But how did you get there? What
Right.
did you do? What were you doing before, like during your free time?
Right.
if it's somebody looking to get into marketing or sales and, they were working at Red Robin or, Outback Steakhouse bussing tables while they were, getting C's and B's, right?
Right.
And their process of getting there was they studied X, Y, Z. I want to hear that story. I don't want to hear the story where, you showed up, you studied your butt off and you got A's and now you're really proud. And again, you should be proud if you get A's in college. But for me and for my fit for my business, that's not, I want to hear how you got there.
Right.
I want to hear the stories of what went on. If you were a partier, I mean, it's all relatable, as you know.
Yeah.
A master's is not a prerequisite for success.
I agree. I mean, look at the Bill Gates college dropout. I mean, John Hamlin is a great friend of mine. He owns Hamlin and Associates, has his own private jet, drives a Rolls Royce. And the guy, he's been on this show, and he said, he basically dropped out in 8th grade. So, you know, my shelves, as you can see behind me there, my bookshelves are lined with books, and I've read them all. And I have stacks of books sitting here on my desk. I'm that I have to read, that I've been given and gotten. And so, you know, definitely believe in self-education. Do you agree with that?
Key word is self.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And I believe in people having mentors. Like because it's no different in sports, right? If I want to be a great quarterback and the quarterback coach is Peyton Manning, you know what I mean? I want that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's the world that I want. And I think that, I'm gonna make a prediction, but I think that college is so screwed right now that I think that in the future, this is what you're going to see that's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of more of that one-on-one-ish type stuff, because they're not seeing stuff that's happening now.
I think that, you know, again, I have the most successful people on this planet are salespeople, and I don't care what anybody says. You can argue if you want, but you can't win this argument. Bill Gates would have never, ever, ever had anything if he weren't able to sell his, well, back then it was the bomb, but, you know, had he not been able to sell his ideas, he wouldn't be where he is now.
No, you're right.
It's Steve Jobs. If Steve Jobs wouldn't have been able to sell us on that thing there, you know, if everybody is in sales. And for me, I worked at the Honda factory right out of high school and made unbelievable money. We were making more money than the union guys and girls were.
Right.
But there were no windows, and it was right. like 9-10 hours of hell, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And that's when I got in sales, like 21 years old. So, you know, and again, I think that if every 18-year-old before they start college would just go out for 3 to 6 months and work for a company, going door to door, selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, give them minimum wage and give them a percentage on what they sell, and show them the potential that life has to offer. And then say, okay, now if you're not happy after that, and you can't quit, you've got to do it for 3 to 6 months solid. Like, you know, there has to be, because I forget who it was it Shakespeare? Somebody said the greatest disservice that we do to our children is steal away their hunger, right?
Yeah.
So you go into the car business, and you start in sales.
Yeah. I started in sales, and what was hilarious about the whole thing was, so because I saw these movies and I had common sense, I saw the pack of people standing outside smoking cigarettes, complaining about everything, right? And there was this one guy who was hilarious, because what he would do was, there was no up system. They would literally say up, and when they saw a car, up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I saw is he would get everybody to like listen to one of his stories, which was always the same. He'd get them to turn it back.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, man, you know, they changed the pay plan and they're talking about doing this, and now they're all discussing negative stuff. And a car would come in and he'd be like, up and go get it. And he would sell them a car at this Ford store. And everybody's like, well, how's this guy selling 30 cars a month? I'm like, because you guys are idiots and he's distracting you. You're focused on the negativity, right?
Yeah.
So I come in, I'm not even trained, right? And I'm not bragging. Like, I literally fell into this. I don't know. It was something in my genes, or just that I just don't care what people think of me, maybe.
Right. That helps.
But I'd take a customer and they'd talk, and, you know, they would say, hey, there's 425 horsepower in this Mustang. And I'd say, yeah, you're right. You know, let's take it for a spin. We would drive around. We talk about family, dogs, sports. If they liked the Giants, I was a Giants fan. If they were a Milwaukee Brewers fan, I was a Milwaukee Brewers fan. And then they bought the car.
Yeah.
And it was like that. And they're like, oh, this rookie is selling cars. Like, oh my, like, how is he doing it? I'm like, I'm just listening to people and they're just talking. They have nobody to talk to. I'm not saying anything really. And that was as easy as it was for me. Literally, I just listened to.
Is that and gosh, it's so simple, but
Yeah.
most salespeople don't get it.
No, it's the trickery of words and,
Yeah.
and different things. And it's like, you know, and then, but yet the industry is always like, well, it's like the first date with the girlfriend, right? You
Yeah.
gotta take her out for a drink. Well, yeah, just shut up and whether you're a male or female, shut up and listen to the people. They're
Right.
gonna tell you everything. They would tell me everything. They would literally be like, oh, I bought this car 2 years ago. It's been in the shop 8 times. And then I would just say, hey, listen, you told me that the car was in the shop 8 times. So why do you think it's worth $6,000? Because we got this right here. It said 4,000 and I got to show this to the customer, all these service reports. And they go, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like, people are like, oh, you're using this. I'm like, no, I'm listening. Like,
That's it,
stop
dude.
training, start listening.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I got lucky with it. So 8 months in, I got into management at another store. And that's where I really learned some massive life lessons
Yeah.
in that situation.
As a sales manager, or
Yeah, they ended up launching the guy that was a sales manager at this small Kia store and Subaru store, and it was an old Buick Oldsmobile building. So the service center was in the middle, and then on the right side, the one side there was Kia and used, and then on the other side, like you walk down Willy Wonka's hallway,
Yeah.
and there'd be like, because it would get narrower, and there would be Subaru, right? Before Subaru was as popular as it is right now, right?
Yeah.
So they launched this guy. They have Reynolds and Reynolds. I have no idea what I'm doing. They're like, who wants to be a manager? I'm like, yeah, I do. They're like, well, you sell a good amount of cars, so we'll give you a shot. And my special finance manager that I love to this day, came and drew on my keyboard for Reynolds and Reynolds, F3 backwards and F4 forwards to the next page. He drew the arrows. And that's how I learned to navigate through that system.
Wow.
And from there. But I made a fatal mistake when I became a manager. I went, hey, chest pump, I'm the boss. You're going to listen to me now. And to make a long story short on that end, what I ended up doing was I ended up pissing off a lot of salespeople
Yeah.
to the point where I started losing some good ones because I operated at 150%, like full throttle.
Yep.
And that doesn't fit everybody's mold, obviously.
And that's tough, man.
Yeah, it's really tough to be intense, and max ADHD,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And expect people to be like that when, they're better. A lot of people are better just doing the quality and spending a less amount of time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and again, there's multiple schools of thought about that. Personally, I'm a like all in. I mean, you and I were talking last night at 11:30, and I was still sitting here working.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just the way. It's the way that I am, and and there's other people that are happy being average. I'm not. So,
well, I mean, but to them, so for us, that's average.
Yeah.
To them, that's the norm.
Right. No,
right?
I get that.
But I'll lay in bed in 12:30 at night. I mean, my wife wants to just smack the hell out of me all the time.
Yeah.
But I'll be laying in bed and I'll be like, somebody will text me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and boom, I'll be texting them back, and it's not playtime. It's like business, or a lead will come in for something else for a different company, and I'll be like, hey, did you get the lead? So I mean, it's just I'm always checking things. It fits my personality. It's just the way that I am.
So earlier though, you mentioned that you were, and I know you do some public speaking stuff. So you mentioned that you were speaking at a college. So here you are, a college dropout, and you're speaking at a college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How's that work?
Go figure. And then there were people clapping and laughing at my speech, like engaged. And in the middle of it, like the person in charge came over and pitched a marketing class that they have. So she like interrupted, which was cool. Like, I don't care. Like, there's no, but pitched a class, and I was like, all right. And then went back into it. But like, yeah, there's a big party that wants to go. Do I go to a college and do I talk, or do I go to a college and say what I feel is, or do I go to a college and I talk literally about marketing in the year 2020? So I chose to talk about marketing in the year 2020 instead of saying, hey, if you go to marketing class, the professor's 60 years old and 70 years old, and that's not an age thing, but they're going to teach us how to market, 10 years ago.
And dude, stop being PC, man. It is an age thing. Like, and again, now there are some exceptions to that. Grant Cardone is an anomaly. I think I probably say that at least once a day. Like, somehow his name always comes up when in a marketing conversation, right? It's like, yes, Grant is 60 years old and unstoppable beast, but he's an anomaly. Like, he's not.
Yeah. He's probably the only 60-year-old person that he still gets what it understands what he has to do to stay in front of people.
Exactly. And is doing it.
And is doing it. Yeah. And is continually doing it.
And so when you go to college and you're being taught by a professor making, I don't know, 70, 80, 90 maybe a year, and he's 67 and a half years old, and he's going to talk to you about Facebook marketing and Instagram marketing. Like,
yeah, he has no Instagram account, except for he's got 1,100 followers that are all robots,
And you're like, but I was hoping to make $250 a year, and can you get that guy to teach me?
Yeah.
Right. Where's that guy? I want to be professed by him. So
here's the problem, and this is how I've built my business, and I think that you do, and you are currently doing, and will continue to do the same thing. We do what's called discovery, right? Yep. Remember the old days that people would take people out golfing, and then they'd go get a beer, and they'd wine and dine them, and let's go to a Phillies game and hang out. They're trying to build some sort of relationship, get people. That's a shortcut for me to understand that. I'd rather do that when you like me because, we've created business for you.
Yeah.
And we get along. We go into businesses and we got to find out what's the problem. I think that I have a gift. I think the only gift that I have, honestly, is the ability to walk into a business, spend a half a day there and say, looking at it from a people, process, product situation, throw marketing in and saying, okay, this is where there's problems. This is how we can fix them. This is how we can go. And that's why we do custom packages for everybody, because I hate the one-size-fits-all programs. And you know that from marketing. Yeah. SEO doesn't work for everybody.
Nope.
Facebook does not work for everybody. Texting does not work for everybody. So using that and being creative and helping, and I started this company, honestly, I do 20%, you and I talked about this, but a minimum a day, 20% of my day is free work.
Yep.
And the reason is I want to help small businesses too, as well, grow when they don't have a marketing budget. So if I can do a spotlight video, or if I can do shout outs, if I can teach them something, if there's something that you can do, I think it helps everybody. And I'm wired differently in that aspect, but I never look at the money. I could care less, honestly, about any of the financial situation until we get to a point where, okay, this is what we need, then let's go.
Yeah.
I'm never like, all right, they do this, so let's go 20 grand a month and then go, because they might not need much or they might need more. But you know what I mean? So it's like value first, and the
Yep.
money will come,
I
and a relationship.
totally agree with you, man. I totally
Mhm.
agree. So you are, I mean, you specialize in automotive, or do you do every kind of business?
No, we do every kind of business.
Oh, do you really?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
thought you were.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were just automotive for some
No,
reason.
sir. No, my friend Ken Walls.
Okay,
Uh,
cool, man. I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah. No, we help any and every business that we possibly can. We're pretty big in real estate.
Okay.
Um, we have a great mortgage partner. We have mortgages partners across the U.S., but we have a really good one that I adore that's located in Philadelphia named Pando Mortgage. Cheap shout out to them. Great people, just a great all-around team of people. But no, we're in every industry that we possibly could be in that we can help. I mean, that's it. Automotive, I just have a little leg up on automotive
Yeah.
because, I know how things work, and I know that there's so many vendors out there that are selling snake oil and smoke, and
Yeah.
and that's the only industry that I've come across that is a one size fits all push nonstop. Like, you have to do this, you have to do that. Dealers are fighting OEMs. I mean, I was all the way up to a general manager, so I know I went on the trips where they said we all have to do this, like the lollipop kids.
Yeah.
And what works in California does not work in Pennsylvania, New Jersey.
Right.
So
Right.
when you can find and divide and conquer, that's the way to go.
Well, and again, and now that I've discovered that we're truly competitors.
Not really.
I'm kidding.
Not
But no,
really.
I don't. I'm totally kidding. So
Yeah.
to your point, it also can segment down to on a micro level that what works in New York City or Harrisburg doesn't work in Doylestown and vice versa. So
Absolutely.
you gotta look at what's the mindset there, what's trending in that area, et cetera. So
Right. That's where you got to do the discoveries, right?
right,
Where you got to do, what's the actual target market? How are the people reacting to how, like, well, even what's their form of communication? Everybody's like, emails dead, emails dead, emails dead. I have one client that literally all for some reason, I know why, but for some reason their customers only communicate via email. You text them, they get pissed. You email them, they're happy. So
yeah,
it's different. I think that marketing, like you're in, obviously,
yeah,
and it's a broad brush,
right,
right? People paint a broad brush over things where, artificial intelligence is the new big thing. It's not going to work. Well, first of all, I don't believe it's going to work fully, but it's not going to work for a lot of companies because you need that human connection. If you
yes.
have no human connection, you're killing yourself doing work.
I was traveling recently and I stopped at a Wendy's
Hmm.
and I went as soon as I walk in the door, there's a one of those kiosks to place your order.
Hmm.
It's like right there when you walk in. I go, this is ridiculous. And I look around the kiosk and there's
Yeah.
people at the register. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to pay the same price if I order it from this kiosk
Hmm.
as I would if I walk over there and order it from real humans. I'm ordering from a real human. So
Right.
that's me. I'm not using a key. Like what? if I have the choice. And
Yeah.
if I didn't have the choice, that probably would have been the last time I ever stopped at a Wendy's.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
me. Some people
Yeah.
might be like, well, I love the kiosk. I hate people.
Well, there, there's this whole millennial swing, right? Where it's like, we gotta have it now, we gotta have it fast, we gotta do this.
Right.
Wawa has all the button orders and da da da. Well, again, it's different for every business, and it's different for every area and segment. If you went into Wyoming, okay, and put up kiosks everywhere, it would take probably an hour for people to order something just because the technology is a little bit behind. Sorry, Wyoming people, I'm not generalizing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the technology. I grew up in Maine. You know what I mean? Like, I understand there's a little bit of a difference gap there, right?
There is.
You know, but if you go to New York City and you automate everything in Manhattan, you know, people they're just like, you know, they'll eat that up like crazy. So,
I mean, again, it's just like at all the airports. Like now the parking's all automated, and you have to pay. And I'm like, well, there's been times where I go to leave a parking garage and there's spikes, and you can't get like, did you pay back at the kiosk? And I'm thinking, well, I didn't see a kiosk, you idiots. Like, and you know I'm the idiot because I should have been looking for a kiosk, and I'm thinking, and I'm a technology guy. Imagine somebody that's not. Right?
Yeah.
That is an 80-year-old that just flew in to visit their grandkids or something, and they're like,
right.
Kiosk? What's a kiosk? You know?
Yeah, you're tired. You know what I mean? Like, you're just frustrated and I just don't. I don't understand. I think that AI and again, you know, I've never seen an industry that's so into keywords that that's the car industry. You know, they start talking about robots and auto texting.
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
That's the fastest way to lose a customer. Okay. A lifelong customer, because
it's crazy.
You're trying to think about that. You're spending money and you're trying to take a shortcut.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mess with them all the time because the state representatives now for the election and Congress or whatever's going on don't pay any attention to it, but they're texting me on my phone. So I'll text them back and I'm like, oh, I don't like politicians. I think you're all crooked. And then the robot texts back and it's like, well, we're sorry, Mr. Bennett. We hope that you like to have to come and vote for the election for Mr. Ramsey. And it's like, you're not solving my problem.
No.
You're not trying to change me into a customer. You're just throwing babble shit at me.
Yep.
You know, so I would be dumb and hated upon if I said that AI wasn't the future, but I would also be dumb naive to say that it's never going to be in the near future a problem solver that you should use when, you know, it's like you and I.
Yeah.
I think you're a great guy. I think what you're doing is absolutely phenomenal. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I watch all your shows.
Thank you.
You're creating, or you're you know, running with the human connection.
Right.
Right? From a social platform that was built to connect people.
Right.
So why should we abuse it?
And I totally agree. I think that AI is going to play. I think there's definitely going to be some hybrid and full on. I mean, but there's going to be application where it just makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as replacing human interaction, and unfortunately, you know, and I don't know where the shift is, and we don't have enough time to talk about all of that, but you know, unfortunately, I think that there are a lot of the human connection is falling by the wayside. I mean, I was up. My buddy Jeffrey Gitomer released his new book yesterday that he wrote with Napoleon Hill called The Truthful Living. First thing I did this morning is I start reading, and I'm trying to learn how to better connect with myself and other human beings, right? And it blows my mind that that's just not a desire anymore. That people, it's like almost like they don't really truly desire the human connection anymore.
Well, do you want to hear about my 9% theory?
Yeah, I want to hear about it.
Okay, so this is what I spoke to with the other day, to the class at the college. So 91% of people communicate via mobile, obviously apps, email, blah, 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 all these programs, right? So there's a 9% window, okay, that people aren't, okay? I am a firm believer that if you take like a conversation of you and I going back and forth,
Yep.
and then it's like, hey, Ken, we text and different things like that. Let's catch up for a cup of coffee, right? And we sit down, or I'm passing somebody on the street and I'm like, hey, how's your day? Blah, 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 blah. That is like 10 times more powerful now than it ever has, because I see it going back to like the 50s, to where when you opened a business, you couldn't do a direct campaign out to your target market for 10,000 people or 20,000 people.
Right.
Now you can go out and personalize things and make them feel a part of it, because people aren't used to it because of the way that everybody's being trained to communicate now. I think that 9% window you can squeeze into is going to just earn you not only a customer, but the utmost respect, a great relationship, and everything else from there. And it goes on and on, my theory on it. But like literally, I plead to people, like even on the smaller scale, right? Turn a text into a phone call.
Yep.
Okay? And that's pretty simple to do once you get to know somebody. Like all these things are built for us to semi-connect, easier to do. But you know what? Everybody has a little bit of time. I always say I can find an hour out of your time a day. I can find an hour out of anybody's time a day that they're not utilizing. But get on the phone for 5-10 minutes. Build a little bit more of that human connection where there's an actual voice to it. And it's so much more powerful.
Dude, I say it all the time. I've had employees that refuse to call a customer and like they're emailing or they're sending it through our project management system or whatever, and it's like, dude, pick up the phone and call. Like, call them. Because there'll be a record of it, number one. Number two, like, you're literally making this attempt to connect with a human being beyond technology. Like, I'll call people sometimes and I'll go, hey, I'll get their voicemail and I'll go, I know I'm being all old fashioned, just calling and not texting first, but that's just who I am. Like, I'm just like, I want to talk to you. And this video, I use video with Zoom and everything else like all day long. Yeah. It's like, cause then like I can see your eyes, right? I can see what you're, if you're upset, I can see that. I can feel it. We can work through it. If you're happy, I can see that. I can feel that. So, I that's the interaction that I want. And that's what I want in my business too. And for my clients, I want, people to understand that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a joke that I always say to employees and different people. It's like, who did you talk to today? Did you talk to Gmail? Did you talk to Outlook? Did you talk to Mac?
Right.
Did you talk to Dell? Because that's what people are looking at you as. Right. You know what I mean? But if you can do this, at least we're breaking apart. Now, you're in Ohio. I'm in Doylestown. We're far apart, but, there's a chance that I'm either going to be over there or you're either going to be over here, and you and I can catch up and have a cup of coffee. Frank Lopes and I have done it. Yeah. Mad respect for Frank Lopes. Get more Frank. Hashtag get more Frank. Dude. Love him. Met him for a cup of coffee. Yeah. Known him for years. Talked to him like this. And him and I had a cup of coffee. And you feel like you get to learn them so much better. So if people aren't doing that with their clients, it's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
Trevor Brooks is on here. He said, that's why I went on a Road Warrior in-person push from August until now. And I did the same thing about a month and a half ago. I had some meetings in Dallas. I had to go down and meet with Lisa Copeland down at her house in Austin. And then I had to go meet a client in New Orleans. So I'm like, that's like $6 million in airfare. I'm like, no, I'll just drive. Like, I'll just drive to Dallas, and then I'll drive down to Austin and over to, and I put 3,000 miles on my car over an 8-day period. And dude, it was probably the best thing I've done in a long time, is actually getting out and going face to face and visiting customers and shaking hands. I met the Zig Ziglar's kids on that trip, and now I've become really good friends with them. And matter of fact, just did Julie Ziegler's website, and it's like getting out and having human interaction. If I could, and I think you would agree with this, if I could get away with it, if I could find the people to do it, I would hire 10 salespeople right now today and tell them all, go door to door, business to business, and build relationships. Make friends. Mm-hmm. Make friends. Don't worry about selling them.
No.
Build relationships. Because over the last 24 years of building websites, I've had plenty of people say, dude, I got my web guy already. I don't need, I love this guy. And I've gone, no problem, man. I'm not looking to replace anybody that you're already happy with. If you ever need me, you know what I do. Let's go grab some coffee sometime or something, and that's it. And then eventually that web guy's going to tick them off in one way or another, and they call me.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's an 800 number.
Right.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right, exactly.
So basically what I tell people is do the opposite of what LinkedIn does.
Yeah.
Which is like, you send me a friend request, just say you're John Smith, IT technology of the world, and you're taking over Apple and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I might, this might be a good contact for the future. So boom, accept friend request. 2 seconds later, I get 14 paragraphs, sell. And, it's just ridiculous. But I go into businesses all the time, small business all the time. Some people think I'm crazy. Yeah. Some people actually utilize stuff. Yeah. But I'll walk in and I'll say, hey, I think you should do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, who the hell are you? And I'm like, well, I'm Chris. I own a marketing agency. And like, I know this area. So I think that one tip, you should do this. And they're like, and some people do it. And then some people are like, you're an idiot. Like, who are you? You're telling me how to run my business. Right. But I don't care, because I'm not asking for anything in return. I'll just keep giving value and value and value and value. I had one where it was called Cross Culture in Buckingham, and it's an Indian restaurant, which is phenomenal. Yeah. And right next door is a wine and spirits, and they're a BYOB Indian cuisine, and they weren't cross-marketing.
Wow.
I walked in there and I said, hey, why aren't you Then I walk into wine and spirits and I'm like, hey, why aren't you Now they have a relationship. They don't even know who the hell I was at first. I set up a strategic relationship with them and then left. And they're like,
and that's the other thing, dude. Like, how many times a day do you get it happens all the time, right? Messages on Messenger and trying to push their product, and they never even developed a relationship with me. They never found out who I am. They never, none of that.
Yeah.
Oh, you just commented. I'm like, how's he commenting?
On my phone. Yeah.
But so
you're right.
These Sometimes it's a matter of just helping people, period. And then
it's actually like when you said earlier, and somebody commented, but you said earlier, I just found out we were kind of like competitors.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, but you're not. You're two people that are trying to change the world, right?
Right.
But it's true. I
agree.
It's a mindset and it's a culture change. So. Right. If you get up, I get up in the morning and I'm like, all right, I have this to do, but how can I add value to this?
Yep.
Right? If I talk to one business and I can't give them something for free, then I'm too busy, then I don't feel bad because I'll double down, the next day. But I mean, that's literally how I built my business. My business is literally referral based.
Yeah.
We don't even market ourselves, and we're a marketing company. And somebody called me out on that because they're like, "Yo, you haven't posted something on Instagram in a while." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "We're not really doing that." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I, dude, I've been there. I'll tell you, and we're at the end of the hour. I can't believe that. But you know, I had Sharon Lechter on the show, and who's the co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
And she sold over 30 million books or something insane. And so, you know, I'll never forget what she said. One of the most valuable lessons of her life is, and she said that she said her father would ask her every night as a child, "Did you add value to anyone's life today?"
Exactly.
And at the end of every day as a child. And she said she's taken that into her adult life, and every single day at the end of the day, say to yourself, did I add value to anyone else's life? And be honest with yourself about it. And if you didn't, put the ball bat down, right? Don't beat yourself up. But tomorrow, wake up and add some value to other people's lives. And then the laws of reciprocity kick in, right? And the universe just starts sending you stuff, man. It just happens that way.
Yeah, you build real connections of real people that appreciate you.
Right.
It's not hard. I laugh at the sales trainers. No offense to sales trainers, but I just laugh because I'm like, listen, like maybe you got to train people on how to like get out of their shell. But other than that, it's like, man, just show value first, you know, and be a good person. And as cliche as it sounds, if you're a good person, good karma, you know, it's going to work, you know, just don't have negativity around you and just keep and work. Stop saying hustle and grind unless you're going to say hustle. Seriously, it's driving me crazy. Say hustle, grind equals work, right? Because that's what it is. It's work. You got to work. This is work, right?
Well, like, I mean, dude, there's who was it? I think it was Frank Lopes I was talking to. I'm like, dude, there's so many people just regurgitating the same stuff that they're hearing Grant Cardone and Gary Vee and all these other. Like, dude, instead of regurgitating everybody else's stuff, do your thing, man. Get off of Instagram and Facebook and go work.
Yeah, you know what? Your meme is awesome. Like I love your meme, but you know what? Go do what the meme says.
Right.
Right? Stop setting the bar to buy a jet. I don't even like to fly. You know where I set my bar at? Seriously, you know where my bar is at?
Where?
Like literally just like having everything paid off and being able to help more people.
There you go, man.
I don't need to fly around. I'm not disrespecting Grant Cardone, but I don't need to fly around in a jet with my name on it. Like I don't like people are literally working selling furniture, which nothing wrong with that. But then they're like, I'm grinding and hustling so hard so I can get my jet in 2 years. What's my side hustle? Side hustle. Get a regular job, like just work.
Right.
Hustle used to be a negative term for.
Dude, I don't believe in side hustle, and I know that a lot of people hate me for that, and I don't care. It's like, look, there's if you do anything halfway, you're going to get halfway results. So
you're doing
go all in.
Yeah, you're doing 4 jobs. And you're getting one job results.
If that, right?
Your time is just
right.
Plus, you gotta fit in
a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That's biblical. And so you know, like if you're trying to, it's like years ago, my buddy who's my attorney, he's like he says, he calls me up, hey, how's business? I'm like, oh, it's terrible. This is in like 2010 or 11. And at that time, I'd gotten into this MLM thing, and he's like, and which I love the product, I still use it. But he says, he says, well, how's that other thing going? I said, it's a great opportunity. It's going to change the world. I'm going to be a billionaire. I know I am. And he's like, dude, he goes, dude, listen, man, you cannot have you can't have a mistress. I said, I don't have a mistress, you jerk. He's like, no. I'm talking about the two things. You cannot have both those things and be successful at either. Like, you're going to be maybe a little bit successful at each, but you got to pick one. You got to pick one and go all in.
Well, you're cheating on your company, basically.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And you're actually hurting yourself. I truly believe that. I mean,
yeah.
You know, and you know what else? You don't have time to do memes.
Right. Well, dude, listen, man, we could talk all day. We've been on here 1 hour and 6 minutes, dude. Can you believe that? So, let's finish up. How can everybody follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Real Chris Bennett.
Okay.
Promise you no memes or minimal memes.
You can
Real
borrow
Chris Bennett.
some of mine. Go ahead.
Impressive Media Group is the name of my company. You can go to our website. You can go to see us on Instagram and Facebook. And I tell people all the time, if you need help with anything, just shoot me a message. I'm not looking to charge. I get some of the silliest questions that I think are silly, but are really people's struggles in life, and I'll answer them. But Ken, I can't thank you enough. You got a gift box coming for you.
Appreciate you, brother.
And
dude, is there a Black Hawk flying over you right now?
Well, you want to hear a real quick story, real quick?
Real quick.
Trump has a golf course, like right near me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he keeps flying into golf. So they shut all these little airports down, and they fly helicopters, and so that he
really?
Can, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I got Air Force One, flying over top. Yeah, that was
you mean Marine One?
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely a clearance for him to come through.
Seriously?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's insane, dude. Wow.
Golf, man. He likes to golf.
Yeah, well, hey, man. So, all right, dude. Well, listen, thank you for being on. Everybody, make sure you go follow Chris Bennett. Chris, I'm going to have you on again. We're going to do this again, man. Follow up show.
Absolutely.
You got a lot of value. A lot of value.
I appreciate you, Ken.
I appreciate you, brother. All right, you guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for more breakthroughs on Breakthrough Walls.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. That's right. You can take your costume off now, bro.
See you, buddy. Thank you.